First, I would say that I would be remiss if I did not give you and your team at District 8, led by Kevin Keefe, a shout out for your work. Your department's responsiveness, your willingness to listen, and most importantly, your willingness to help the people of the 28th District. They're all themes of you and your leadership at the department, so thank you very much. You said something early in your tenure, and that was we need to focus more on the businesses that are here now than worrying about trying to lure businesses to Pennsylvania. Your words came true when you helped a major employer in my district address a significant transportation problem, an employer that has been in business for well over 100 years, so thank you.
Well, maybe I'd amend my comment by saying that I equally share concerns for current businesses and future ones. Maybe not quite as artful as I should have been, but the point was that, you know, I want to make sure that PennDOT is responsive to the needs of the companies that are already in our state, and also trying to address the needs of those that may be interested in moving to our Commonwealth. So thank you.
Noted and agreed, so thank you. So there was an announcement that came from the governor, but I wanted to ask you, since it impacts commuters in my district, and that is about the flexing of federal highway dollars for SEPTA. So in November of last year, the governor announced that he directed your department to flex $153 million of federal highway funds to SEPTA. And this resulted in 7 road and bridge projects across the state losing funding. So could you please explain the process of how those 7 projects were selected?
So 7 projects are correct. The one that I'm sure you're focused on is I-83 in York County, the smallest of the 7. The criteria for us in identifying the 7 projects started with interstate projects. And by choosing interstate projects, we avoided the challenges that would come with trying to do projects that would be in the purview of our planning partners. And so the interstate projects also gave us the greatest flexibility to be able to flex the funds without being hurtful to the program that's before us that would affect contractors and workers, while knowing that the cash flow opportunities for those 7 projects would allow us to deliver them in their due course. And of course, you're smartly asking this question of the 7, 6 are going to be on track to be delivered when they would have been. The $3 or $4 million project in York County may be delayed, but we're going to do our level best to have that not happen so that we can deliver it and its normal schedule.
Well, I'm certain that the commuters in York County would appreciate that. So the ultimate selection of those 7 projects, were they chosen by the governor or were they chosen by PennDOT?
The recommendations were made by me to the governor's office, so I will own that. Again, there was no nefarious calculating when it came to the selection of the 7 projects. There were 7 projects that, again, delivered $153 million, but also met the criteria that I had that we would not be harmful to delivery of those projects, but instead it was an accounting gymnastics exercise, as I would describe it, to be able to raise the money without being hurtful to the program.
So essentially what you are saying is that the analysis included determining what the interstate projects were and then making sure that any projects that were selected were not tied to county planning processes.
Yes.
Were any other projects considered?
The entire interstate network projects that would be in that same category. And so, yes, there were a whole range of projects on the interstate network. Those 7 got us to $153 million, but also were positioned in such a way, in a schedule situation that we'd be able to deliver them, as I said, on time.
So in order to provide us with some sort of heads up, do you anticipate that if the governor doesn't get what he wants with regard to mass transit funding, that we could potentially be looking at another list of road and bridge projects that could be defunded next fiscal year?
Haven't contemplated that. Right now, the proposal that the governor made at his address stands, and the hearings are unfolding now, and it allows the House and Senate to measure what's being proposed by the governor. And how things unfold over the next 3 or 4 months, I'll not try and predict the future.
Well, again, I realize that this was the governor's call ultimately, but appreciate your team and your willingness to work with us in York County on a vast array of projects. And I certainly hope that in the future, if this happens again, that we might get some sort of a heads up as to a list of roads and bridge projects. So thank you again, Mr. Secretary.
Sure.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.